Hi folks, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to go ahead and do a quick review for you on the Norinco 780 Homeland Security 12 gauge shotgun. This is currently being sold at SFRC or the ammo source in Canada for $99. It has been reported to have multiple problems, and that's why the price has gone down so low. I don't know if you can find it cheaper at other places or not, but the original price was about $270. I got this for $99. Like I said, including shipping and all that, it was about $120. It is a 14-inch barrel. As you can see, it's a fairly short barrel. The magazine is also fairly short. That would make it a 4+1 capacity. There's some cycling and jamming issues that have been constantly reported as issues, and I'm going to show you how to fix those issues and turn this back into a nice shotgun that isn't just a cycling nightmare. So before I do anything, I'll go ahead and draw this back, show you it's not loaded, there's nothing in there. Our magazine is empty, you can see the plug, so we're good to go with that. So we're going to start by disassembling it. The first thing you're going to do is you've got a swivel nut at the top here. You may not have a swivel strap, that doesn't matter. You're just going to go ahead and screw this nut off. It's important to also note that this, even though it is a knockoff of a 870 shotgun from the Remington, it's not exact. You've got a bushing here, which is a little different from the 870 design, but something that's the same as it does have to be brought back to the half cock mode to take the barrel off. So that barrel will slide right out once you have that nut and bushing out. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the slide and the action right out, and I'll show you exactly where the problems are. So when you've got your shotgun cocked, the hammer's already depressed, of course, because I've pulled it back. When that happens, you've got what's called a pump stop lever. If you push back on this, it allows you to draw it back, and that's because of the pump stop lever. It's in the way of the pump rails, or the pump slide rails. The issue with this that causes jamming inside the chamber is that that pump slide rail stop sometimes slides up to the side of the rail instead of remaining underneath the rail. And that's due to the way this particular piece is machined. I'll show you where it is and what you can do to fix it and what you don't want to do at all. So we'll go ahead and pull the action out. So you're going to push up on the bottom here, and on the side furthest from the chamber, you're gonna feel little lips next to the plug. You're gonna go ahead and push in on those, and the action should slide out without too many issues. Again, the machining on Norinco products aren't the greatest, so you may have to bugger around with it for a little bit before it comes out. There we go. Out comes our action plate, which is right there, and our bolt, which sits upon our pump slides here. So the issue here now, I'm going to show you these pump slides. They slide back into the firearm, and your pump stop lever is actually part of your trigger group. So if we're going to have a look at that, we've got to take that out too. I'll show you how to do that. I'm just going to tilt the screen down here. Now you see here, let's see if I can't get you a good, there we go. We've got a pin here and a pin here. We're going to knock both those out. Now if you don't have a punch or anything, I like to use just a simple nail that has had the tip ground down so it's nice and flat. Anything along those lines will work. We're going to go ahead and punch these out, and these don't take a lot to punch out. They come out nice and easy. You want to be careful not to scratch the finish anywhere on the gun, so we're going to go ahead and punch that out. There's the first pin, and there's the second pin. With those both out, the trigger group comes right out. Now, the hammer's already depressed on the trigger group. I'm going to go ahead and let it down just so you can see the piece in question here that's causing your jamming issue in your chamber. This right here, this little guy that I'm wiggling around, that is your slide stop. So when the hammer pulls down, watch that guy, what happens? He pulls up like that. And as you can see, I can wiggle this back and forth. There's not a lot, it's not as solid in there as you might want it to be. And if you've got your own at home, it would be kind of hard to show you here. It's just a folded piece of metal. You see that? It's just folded right around, and there's a pin that runs through it. The pin on the other side over here, if you can see that, this is called a press all pin, and you don't want to remove that, otherwise you're going to need the proper awl to spread the pin again, plus a new pin, an anvil and a hammer, or else a press. So we're going to leave that alone. You don't need to do anything for that. The only thing I did to fix this problem is this little guy here, because he is able to wander from side to side, I just bent it slightly out a little bit this way, so that when the slide is pulled back, regardless of its ability to move, it still, because now slightly bent, cannot get over top of that rail and to the side. It remains down there. The way to do this, if you have an anvil, that works really nice. Just lay it down on the anvil and knock it a couple times with a hammer just on that lip there, and just bend it slightly. You don't need to bend it too much. You only need to change this a millimeter or two, so it won't be able to get over top of there. Other than that, with this trigger group, that's all we need to look at. The next problem I found was sometimes when you're trying to cycle the action, or when you've got a discharge shell in the chamber and you're pulling back on your pump, it gets stuck. And where it gets stuck is actually in the barrel here. You've got a shell deflecting lip. Okay, and so what the shell does is your extractor goes into here, it's pushing down on the shell, it pulls it back in here, and this lip deflects it slightly so that it gets pulled down along your ejection rail. Well, this lip here is a very sharp lip, and it's not machined very well. So what I did is I just took some 150 grit sandpaper, wrapped it around the tip of a screwdriver, and just sanded that slightly to get rid of the sharp lip. And whenever you're removing material like that, you always just want to do very small amounts. And again, if you're using 150 grit sandpaper, it's made for woodwork anyway, so you're not going to remove a lot of metal. I wouldn't recommend taking a file to it. This is relatively soft metal, and a file would remove that pretty quickly. So I would stick with sandpaper. Just bring that lip down so she's not so sharp as to prevent any shells from getting stuck. As you can see here, here's a shell. This is a dummy round, by the way. It's all deactivated. It won't get stuck anymore. It slides right out because I've got rid of that lip. But if you don't clean that lip up, you're going to end up with that problem. Those were the two problems I found. I found some of the other parts of the action were a little bit sticky, so what I ended up doing is I ended up just taking a little bit of sandpaper to a couple of the moving parts, mostly the pump rails here, just a little bit of sandpaper to the corner edges. Again, this machining isn't the greatest, so you've got some burrs and things sticking out. Get rid of those burrs, things like that. On the inside here, along the extractor rail, I'll see if I can show, or the ejector rail, sorry, right there. I just did a little bit of the very tip edge here, where right there sometimes you get caught on right where my finger is, so I just took the sharp edge off of that with a little bit of sandpaper, and I haven't had problems since. So I'll put this together and I'll load it up and I'll show you how well the action works now. It is a pretty accurate shotgun. It's a lot of fun to shoot. It's inexpensive, 99 bucks. So with just a little bit of work, you can turn a $99 shotgun into a pretty good piece for an inexpensive collection. Now putting this back together, as you can see, I just put that action plate back on top of those pump rails. Now I'm going to slide it back in. These pump rails, one is longer than the other, so the chamber side here, that rail is going to meet its lip first. So I'm going to just reach in here, push back on the lip. It'll slide a little further back. Then I'm going to push that second lip back and she'll slide right in. And there we go. So now we're going to go ahead and put our trigger group back in. And that's a real easy go about. So these pins come out pretty easy, but you're going to have to give them a couple extra knocks to get them back in, because they've got those little lips on either end of them that are meant to catch, and so you're gonna just have to bypass that little catch there. So now I've got those pins started. They're just going to need an extra bit of a knock to get them the rest of the way in, and that's it. You don't want to push them in too far or anything like that to pass your issues. Now we can as you can see, I can pull back on this, sorry, I can see if I can't get you better light. I apologize, my camera's not the best. Pull back on this stop, and yeah, the slide indeed works. I'm going to go ahead and put the barrel back on, so we need that back in the half-cock position. Go ahead and just slide that barrel in, and next goes on that little bushing. Looks like it's more of a spacer bushing than anything. It does have a little dowel on there that goes into the actual barrel piece, but I wonder how necessary that really is. I think maybe they just made their nut a little short and they made that bushing to work for it. Plus this is a little bit of a rail piece for a flashlight or something like that, I guess, if you'd like. So now that she's back together, I'm going to go ahead and cock her all the way back, and I'm going to load up 4 rounds in the magazine, and I'll drop one into the chamber, and I will show you how well she cycles. Okay, so okay. And that's it for those fixes. Again, yours may be a little different. It may have come with some faulty machining in other places, or just some areas that need a little bit of tender love and care. But like with any gun, sharp edges in the machining are something you don't want. Burrs are definitely things that shouldn't be there. A little bit of sandpaper is an easy way to fix that. A little bit of oil never hurts. And she's a pretty good little gun for $99. So thanks for tuning in. I'll try to put out a couple other videos here. I have a couple videos I want to post yet on the TT33 Tokarev, particularly the magazine drop, especially when that slide is back, the magazine tends to stick. I'll show you why that happens. I'll show you how to take out the firing pin and the magazine catch, all that kind of stuff. Fully take it apart, put it back together, and then maybe I'll make a second video just on a basic review of it, what I find, what I think about it, and I'll hopefully get those posted for you soon. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me some comments, let me know what you think, and feel free to leave any questions, anything like that. Until then, keep your powder dry.